We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Nun Dalet Amud Beis in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 154b. On the previous summer, there was a Machlokas Amoraim, brought also in the names of Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. In a situation like the case of our Mishnah, let's say a person gives a gift to somebody, and then he claims that at the time he gave the gift, he was a shchimera, and therefore now that he recovered, he should be able to revoke the gift. And the person, the recipients, they say that at the time that he gave the gift, he actually was healthy, therefore it's irrevocable, and they should receive the gift. So the Chachamim say in the Mishnah that the recipients, they are the ones that have to bring proof. They have to bring proof that at the time the gift was given, he was healthy. And the question is, what's the nature of the proof? And Rabbi Yochanan said on the previous summit that they actually have to bring witnesses. They have to bring, the full burden of proof is upon them to say that he actually was healthy at the time he gave the gift. So they have to bring witnesses that he was healthy at that time. And the reasoning of Rabbi Yochanan is because he is the person who is giving the gift. He's the one that's in possession right now of the property, so he has the upper hand. That's why they have to bring witnesses. And the opinion of Reish Lakish is they don't actually have to bring witnesses. All they have to do is certify the shtar. They received the shtar that said that they got this gift. As long as they certify the shtar, this is a case of moda b'shtar shekasvu. It's a case where really he is admitting that the shtar is a good shtar. He's just saying that at the time he gave it, he was a shchimera, and it's revocable. So moda b'shtar shekasvu, according to Reish Lakish, tzarech l'kaimu, they simply have to certify the shtar, and then they will be able to receive the gift. And Rabbi Yochanan now is in the middle of asking a question on Reish Lakish from a brisa. The brisa is discussing a case where one of the sons, he sold the property, and now later on this son died. Now the other brothers, they're coming and saying that the sale was not a good sale because at the time he sold the property, he was actually a minor. He had not yet developed the signs of maturity. And the way we understand the brisa is that those who are receiving the gift, they are saying, no, at the time that the gift was given to us, he was an adult, and let us go ahead and we should check the body, see the body of this son, and see if he actually has the signs of maturity or not. And Rabbi Akiva responded, it's a disgrace to actually check the body, and furthermore, the body changes after death, so that will not be a proof anyhow. And Rabbi Yochanan now brings his proof from what Rabbi Akiva said in this brisa. B'shalom l'didi, it makes sense according to me, di'amino raya be'edim, because I say that the recipients need to bring evidence with witnesses. The full burden of proof is upon them. So kevon da'amar l'lekuchos aisu edim. So what happened was as follows. When Rabbi Akiva told the buyers, you need to bring witnesses that he was an adult, v'lo ashkach, when they couldn't find witnesses, hainu deka'asu v'amrulei, that's why they then said to him, ma'u levodka, what about inspecting the body? But Rabbi Yochanan continues, but according to you, Reish Lakish, the Amrit Raya Bekim Hashtar, that you say that the recipients only need to bring evidence by certifying the shtar. So Lama Luhu Lebotko. So why do the recipients in this case, why do they need to do an inspection of the body? L'kaim Ushtarayu. Let them just certify the shtar. V'lukmu b'nichse, and then they'll be able to take the property. Meaning, according to Reish Lakish, according to you, the burden of proof that rests upon the recipients is not that high. They don't need to prove that he was actually an adult at the time that he sold them the property. All they need to do is certify the shtar. So why doesn't the brisa simply say that they have to certify the shtar? And the Gemara continues that Reish Lakish responds to Rabbi Yochanan, misavred nichse bechezkas b'nei mishpacha kaimi. Do you think that in this brisa what was happening was that it's the family members, they're the ones that have possession of the property? V'ka'asu lekuchos umari, and it's the buyers, the recipients, they're the ones that are coming and they're protesting. That's not what was happening. That's your understanding of the brisa, and that's why you were asking, according to you, Reish Lakish, since all the recipients, in this case the buyers, since all they have to do is certify the shtar, why is Rabbi Akiva saying that they should inspect the body? But that's not what's happening in this brisa. Rather, it's the opposite. Nichse becheskas lekuchos kaimi. The case of the brisa actually was that it's the buyers who have possession of the property. V'ka'asu b'nei mishpacha v'kamari. It's actually the family members, the brothers. They're the ones coming and they're saying they want the property back because their brother sold the property when he was a minor. And in that situation, of course, certification of the shtar would never be effective. Certification is something that's effective for the recipients or the buyers. It's irrelevant to the giver or the seller, and that's why they needed to bring witnesses. And so that was exactly the discussion. They said, let us bring the witnesses, and then when they had no witnesses, so then they said, let us inspect the body. And the Gemara says, Hachanam mistaber, it makes sense to say that that's what's going on in the brisa. Miduka'amar lahu, because what was Rabbi Akiva's response to them after they couldn't find witnesses? He said to them, Iatem rashaim lenavlo. He said, you're not able to disgrace the body in this fashion to inspect the body. V'shtiku, and they were silent. They accepted that. Now, why did they accept it? It must be because they were family members. This was their brother's body. If you're going to say correctly that the Bryce is talking about the family members that are coming to get the property back, so Kama'ari, they're the ones that are protesting and they want their property. Mishamachi Yashtiku, that's why they were silent, because of course they also don't want to defile the body. But if you're going to say that it's the buyers, they're the ones that are protesting, the family members have possession, so why are they silent? Amai Shaski, why are they silent? Lemrule, they should have said to him, they should have said to Rabbi Akiva, Anon Zuze Yahavinan Le, we already gave money, we purchased this property. Lenavel, so let's defile the body. What difference does it make to us? We are owed the property, we need to bring evidence, we can't find witnesses, so therefore let us inspect the body. And the Gemara says that's not necessarily a proof. The fact that they didn't respond is not necessarily a proof. If that's your evidence, that's not necessarily a proof. Because this is what he was saying to them. Chada number one, you're not able to disgrace, you can't defile the body, so we can't do an inspection of the body. V'yoden further, if you're going to say Zuzay Shakal that he already took money from us, so l'navel, so therefore what difference does it make if the body's disgraced? If you will respond in that fashion, but then Rabbi Akiva had something else to say. Simonim asuyim lishtanos la'achar misa. Sometimes the signs of maturity, they'll change after death, and therefore an inspection of the body will not be effective. And in any case, from this brisa, there's no proof one way or the other in terms of the machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. And the Gemara continues, Shal Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish as Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, he asked Rabbi Yochanan the following question. Zusha shnuya b'mishnas bar kapara. The following was taught in the Mishnah bar kapara. This is a brisa. Hareisha ya'ochel sada. Let's say a person is sitting on a field, he's consuming the produce from the field, meaning this individual, he has the chazak in this case on the field. Uba bechezkas shehi shalo, there's a chazaka that it's his field. V'kara olav echad ir, but then one person comes and he protests. Lomar shalihi, he says, actually this field really belongs to me, even though you're sitting on this field, it's actually my field. V'hotzi zes, oh no, and the person who's on the field, he takes out his shtar, Lomar, and he says, Shamachartali, it was your field, but you actually sold it to me. Oh, Shanasatali b'mataner, you gave it to me as a gift. So he has a document on his side. Im Omar eni makir b'shtar zemeolam. Now, if the person protesting, if he says, I've never seen this shtar ever, he denies the shtar, he essentially says it's a forgery. So then yiskayim hashtar b'chosmav, then you do what you generally do in such a situation, the shtar has to be certified. However, let's say the individual, he admits that the shtar is not a forgery, however, he says it's disqualified for other reasons. Im Omar shtar pasim, who let's say he says it's a shtar pasim. A shtar pasim is a document that's written up that's meant to make it look like the person who's holding the document, it looks like he's a wealthy person, he has property that he doesn't really have. A shtar pasim essentially is an invalid document. So shtar pasim, who said this was actually a shtar pasim. Oh, shtar amana, or he says it's a shtar amana, that's a document that's written on trust that the person will pay, but it's not really a valid document until the person pays. Shtar amana is shamacharti lach, that I did in fact sell it to you. V'lo nasata li damim, but then I gave you the shtar ahead of time and you never actually gave me the money. And so therefore again, the shtar is not valid. That's the person's claim. So here you really have a case of moda b'shtar shekasvu. The person is admitting that the shtar is not a forgery. However, he's saying it's disqualified for some other reason. And so the brisa says, im yesh edim, so if he has witnesses on his side, halach achar edim, then you can follow the witnesses. V'im lav, but if not, halach achar shtar, we follow the shtar, and there's no need to get the shtar certified. And therefore this brisa seems to be saying that moda b'shtar shekasvu, if a person admits that a shtar was written, so eno tzarich l'kaimo, you don't need to certify the shtar. And so now Reish Lakish asks Rabbi Yochanan, Lema Rabbi Meir hi do'amar mod b'shtar shekasvu eno tzarich l'kaimo. Are you going to say that this brisa follows Rabbi Meir who says mod b'shtar shekasvu doesn't need to be certified? V'lo rabbanan. Are we going to say that this brisa does not follow the rabbanan? Because again, we said that according to the rabbanan, mod b'shtar shekasvu, the shtar does require certification. Are we going to say that this brisa does not follow the rabbanan? And the Gemara continues, Amar lei, Rabbi Yochanan said to him, he said back to Reish Lakish, Lo, no, I don't have to say that. Sha'ani omer, because I say, Divrei hakol mod b'shtar shekasvu eino tzarich l'kaimo. I say that everybody agrees that if a person admits that the shtar was written, there is no need for certification. In other words, you, Reish Lakish, you say it's a machlokas tanoim. You say that according to Rabbi Meir, there's no need for certification, but according to the Rabbanan, there is a need for certification. But I say everybody agrees that there is no need for certification. But the Gemara continues, how can Rabbi Yochanan say there's no machlokas and the Rabbanan, that they also agree? They also say there's no need for certification. V'amiflag pligi believe it. We already established on the previous Amud that they do argue. The Tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah, Ein and Emonin Leposlo Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says the witnesses, again, this was the case on the previous Amud, where the witnesses are admitting that they signed the document, but they say that at the time they signed, they were disqualified for some reason. For example, maybe they were minors at the time that they signed. So Rabbi Meir says, Ein Emonim Leposlo, they are not believed to disqualify the shtar. They're admitting that it's not a forgery, and therefore we say that it is a kosher, it's a valid shtar. The Chachamim Omrim Ne'emonim, but the Chachamim say that they are believed to disqualify the shtar, and the way we explain that machlokas is that the Chachamim hold the reason why they are believed to disqualify the shtar is because Mod b'shtar shekasvu tzarech l'kaimo. There's still a need for certification. The fact is, even though these witnesses are saying that they signed the shtar, but they're also saying that they were disqualified at the time that they signed the shtar, and therefore there's a need for certification, tzarech l'kaimo. So you see that the Chachamim, they do argue with Rabbi Meir in this regard. Amar Leis, Rabbi Yochanan said back to Reish Lakish, that's not a proof. Because because when it comes to witnesses, they're very strong, and they're able to take a shtar and make the shtar disqualified. The Edom are much stronger than the claimant, and therefore, yes, in this particular case, the Chachamim say Ne'emonim, because we're talking about the witnesses saying that the shtar is not valid. But Iyu Kol Kamini, but him, when we're talking about one of the claimants, do you think he has the same strength as the witnesses? Again, in this situation, this is the person claiming, yes, the shtar is not a forgery, however, it's a shtar pasim, it's a shtar amona, therefore it's not a valid shtar. He doesn't have the same level of strength with regards to his claim, and that's why there is no need, l'kaimo, there is no need for certification in such a situation. Amar Leba, Reish Lakish said back to him, he said back to Rabbi Yochanan, but it's not true, V'alo mishmeich amru, but wasn't it said in your name, going back to the case we had before, this was the discussion between the family members say that our brother who sold the property to you, he was not an adult, and there was a discussion there whether or not to inspect the body to see if he had the signs of maturity, and you said in that case that Yafa Iraru, B'nei Mishpacha, that the family members, they have a good claim when they're saying that this individual, that their brother was a minor at the time, and if you're saying that the family members have a good claim, essentially what you were saying is that even though they admit that the document was not a forgery, but since they're saying that at the time he was a minor, they're saying some other disqualification, apparently they have a good claim over there, and Sarach L'Kaimo, there is a need for certification. So you yourself are saying, according to the Chachamim, that there's a need for certification. So Amar Lei, Rabbi Yochanan said back to Reish Lakish, Zu El Lazar Amar. Actually, that statement of a Yafet Iru B'nei Mishpacha, that was made by Rabbi Lazar. Ani lo amarti davar zeh me'olam. I never said that at all, and therefore, again, I claim that according to the Chachamim, there is no need for certification. But the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Zeira says, Im yichbar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Lazar Talmidu, if Rabbi Yochanan will deny what he said by saying that it was actually said by Rabbi Lazar, his student, yichbar Rabbi Yanai Rava, will he also deny through what Rabbi Yanai said? Do Yamar Rabbi Yanai Yamar Rebbe, because Rabbi Yanai said that Rebbe said, Mod b'shtar shekasvu tzarech l'kaimo. He said that if a person admits that the shtar was written, but there's some other disqualification, there is a need for certification. And when Rabbi Yanai said that, V'yamar le Rabbi Yochanan said to him, Rebbe lo mishnaseinu hizu. Rebbe, isn't this what it says in our Mishnah? Again, the case in our Mishnah where the person who gave the gift to the recipient, he claims he was a shchivnera, and therefore it was a revocable gift. And the Chachamim say that the recipients, they have to bring evidence that he was healthy. And so what does it say in the Mishnah? It says, V'chachamim omrim, hamotzi mechaveru alavaraya. The Chachamim say that the recipients, they're the ones that are trying to get the property from the person who gave the gift, so they have to bring the evidence. And Rabbi Yochanan explains the Mishnah, Ein raya ela b'kiyam ashtar. What does it mean that they have to bring evidence? It means that the recipients have to bring evidence by certifying the shtar. And so you see from this response of Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Yanai, his Rebbe, that Rabbi Yochanan does hold that the Chachamim say Mod b'shtar shekasvu tzarech l'kayim, that certification is needed, and therefore isn't it again a proof that Rabbi Yochanan does say there's a machlokas between Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim in this regard. But the Gemara continues, Baram, this is Rabbi Zeira now talking. Rabbi Zeira says, however, Nirin divrei Rabbeinu Yosef, Diyamar Rabbeinu Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel, it appears that what Rabbeinu Yosef says is correct, because Rabbeinu Yosef says that Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says, Zu divrei Chachamim. He actually has a reversal of the opinion, that this is the opinion of the Chachamim. Avol Rabbi Meir Omer, Mod b'shtar shekasvu shetzarech l'kayim. The Chachamim say, Mod b'shtar shekasvu, there is no need for certification, and Rabbi Meir is the one that says that if he admits that the shtar was written, but there's some other disqualification, that there's a need for certification. certification, meaning you reverse the opinions of the Chachamim and Rabbi Meir when it comes to Moed B'Shtar Shekasvu. And therefore, what did Rabbi Yochanan mean? Umay Divrei HaKol. When Rabbi Yochanan said that everybody agrees that Moed B'Shtar Shekasvu Ein Tzarech L'Kayimo, he doesn't mean that everybody agrees. He means that that's the opinion of the Chachamim. The Rabbanan L'Gavi Rabbi Meir Divrei HaKol. When you're comparing the Rabbanan to Rabbi Meir, the Rabbanan is the majority opinion. That's like Divrei HaKol. Rabbi Yochanan was actually just saying to reverse the machlokas. It's the Chachamim who say Moed B'Shtar Shekasvu Ein Tzarech L'Kayimo, and Rabbi Meir who says Moed B'Shtar Shekasvu Tzarech L'Kayimo. But the Gemara continues, wasn't it exactly the reverse in all of the sources that we brought up till now? Va'ipcha Tanan, in our Mishnah, wasn't it the opposite? It said V'chachamim Omrim Hamotzi Mechaver Olav Araya. It's the Chachamim who say Hamotzi Mechaver Olav Araya. They're the ones that say that the recipients need to bring the evidence. The Gemara says Eipach. The Gemara says just reverse the opinions in our Mishnah. The Gemara says Vatanya, but didn't we learn in the Brisa above Ein and Nemonin Leposlo Divrei Rabbi Meir? Rabbi Meir was the one that said that the witnesses are not believed to disqualify the shtar. V'chachamim Omrim Nemonin, and the Chachamim, they're the ones that said that the witnesses are believed to disqualify the shtar. Therefore, the Chachamim are actually saying that Nemonim, they are believed. Tzarech L'Kayimo, they're the ones that say that certification is required if there's a disqualification of the shtar. And the Gemara again says Eipach. The Gemara says just reverse it. It's actually the Chachamim that say Ein Nemonin Leposlo, and it's Rabbi Meir that says Nemonin Leposlo. But the Gemara still says V'har Rabbi Yochanan Raya Be'edim Ka'amar. Rabbi Yochanan is the one that says Raya Be'edim, meaning Rabbi Yochanan said that in a situation where the recipients have to bring proof that at the time the gift was given, he was healthy, what kind of proof do the recipients have to give? They have to bring proof with witnesses. And the idea is that if Rabbi Yochanan is saying Raya Be'edim, he's essentially saying that the full burden of proof is upon the recipients to prove that at the time the gift was given, the giver actually was healthy. And it's Reish Lakish who says that it's not a full burden of proof on the recipient. Rather, all the recipient needs to do is certify the shtar, because Moed B'Shtar Shekasvu Tzarech L'Kayimo, that would imply that Rabbi Yochanan holds Moed B'Shtar Shekasvu Ein Tzarech L'Kayimo. And the Gemara says Eipach. The Gemara says just reverse that really it's Rabbi Yochanan that says that Raya B'Kiyam Hashtar. And so therefore, in the Mishnah, when the Mishnah says Hamotzi Mechaver Olav Haraya, again, what kind of evidence was Rabbi Yochanan talking about? He was talking about the certification of the shtar. But the Gemara continues, Leima Leipuch Nami Tiyufta. But if you're going to reverse everything, so should we reverse all of the refutations that we previously brought? And the Rashbam explains, Nami Tiyufta Da'amar La'el Eisvei Rabbi Yochanan Rav Shimon Lakish. We said earlier on Amar Aleph, Rabbi Yochanan asked a question to Reish Lakish Leipuch. We should have to reverse that now. Everything should be reversed. V'hashda Tzarech Lomar Eisvei Reish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan. It's the Reish Lakish that should be asking the question to Rabbi Yochanan to Mehashamina de Masnisan Raya Be'edim Kamer, because again that was bringing a proof that our Mishnah is talking about a Raya Be'edim, and now we're saying that who is the one that says Raya Be'edim? It's actually Reish Lakish who says Raya Be'edim, so Reish Lakish should be asking the question to Rabbi Yochanan. So again, that's the Gemara's question of Leimo Leipach Nami Tiyufta, and the Gemara says Lo no, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Nun Hey Amid Aleph.